Oh shit! I hit it already.
Well,
Sorry.
all right, let me
Action.
hit it too. Action. Cut. We're here.
I don't think people like the bit. They don't like
They
the
don't like
bit.
the bit. Well, the
No.
bit is real this time because I have fucking brain fog. This is real.
Yeah, you got it. You got the vid, baby.
I'm the boy who cried COVID because now I'm like really fucking up the the intro. Yeah, I got COVID, everybody.
Yeah.
Um, I've completed the apartment unless the hot woman, the other hot woman here, unless she hasn't got it yet. We've now all had COVID.
Senya. By the way, she wants to get together, have the whole house get together. We had to
Really?
wait a little bit. Yeah.
You know, the truth is, like, everyone's married in the house and fucking besides me and her. It should like we should get together for the.
That's how it should
symmetry.
work out. That way we have 3 units.
I
Then we
know.
can just have a common area.
I know. I'll present it to her.
That's pretty
She's
good.
out
Yeah.
of my league.
She's definitely considerably more attractive than you are.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
we
know how-
talked about this. What?
I don't know how smart she is. You know, I mean, she is a school teacher, so she's probably
Yeah.
really smart too.
Fucking no. Which what elementary school, high school? They're idiots. I look. We talked about this. The league should not just be about hot.
Yes.
You know, I'm
yes.
funny. I'm funny. I'm smart.
Not like everyone says.
Not like everyone says. I was supposed to take care of you, but like that is shitty what he says. I guess
Talking
'Cause
movies.
He's kind of like, I was supposed to look after you, right? He says that to him, right? Al Pacino. That's what triggers it.
Yeah, I mean, because he's an older brother, is what he's saying.
But he's not the older brother, and he goes, that's what triggers it. Pacino says something as if he's the older brother, right?
Wait, what? What? No, Fredo says I was supposed to look after you, and I was stepped
Yeah,
over.
he says that angrily after Al Pacino says something like, kind of like, I always looked out for you, and then he goes, I'm supposed to look out for you, something like that, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, I was just.
So what's the point?
Anyway. I don't know. Look, I have brain fog. I am dying.
We're talking movies here, at least. But yes, I agree with the league thing, and I was talking about this recently. We bonded over this because I posted a photo of Sarah, and everybody's like, "You're hitting out of your league. How'd you pull that off? What the hell?" And I'm like, "I'm hilarious. I'm in pretty good shape. I make a lot of money. I plan things. I set up vacations. I'm taking her all over the world.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think that evens out whatever looks department.
She's out of your fucking league.
Yeah, how about that?
I know this league shit. They think you're being complimentary. They're like, man, good for you. She's out of your league, you ugly piece of shit monster. Like, it's just like, it's not a compliment.
This is a bit of mine, just so you know.
It is?
Yes.
It's one of the symptoms of COVID stealing bits.
Maybe. I don't know.
But I mean, it's just here's the truth though. And the reality, maybe this might be I don't know, but of yours. But if two people are together, they are both in each other's league the minute they get together.
Yes, they're playing.
Yeah, because the minute if you fuck someone, everyone's like, that's a monster. Well, then you're a fucking freak. You know, it's the leagues are even the minute you're in it. Yeah, you can't if you're in the team or playing against each other or with each other, it's equal.
Yeah, that is part of my bit.
That is part of the bit.
Don't you think the best comedy, stand-up comedy sketch bit is, I'm telling you for the last time, when it's Paul Reiser and who is it?
I don't even know this.
They did the opening sketch, and I'm telling you for the last time. It's Paul Reiser and I'll think of it in a second. I think it's Richard
at the
Lewis.
funeral.
And he goes, he goes, what's with the the grass? Everything's so nice there. The landscape is so nice. Everything else is dead. And then he goes, that's a good bit. You gonna do that? I'm gonna do that. He goes, oh, it's not a bit. I'm just saying. And he goes, yeah, I'm gonna do it. He goes, we can't do that. That's mine. He goes, come to think of it, I've been doing it for a while. It's like the best sketch ever.
I don't remember.
I'm just thinking of it. I've been doing it for a while.
I just remember the George Carlin exchange, but I don't remember that. Yeah,
that's great. Oh, and then there was George Wallace, which was a fun inside joke because there was rumors that Jerry and George Wallace were gay.
Really?
Because they would go on vacations together and stuff.
Yeah, they are like best friends. They do gallivant around together.
Yeah, so there's the joke. He goes, was he Jewish? And George Wallace goes, oh, he was Jewish. And don't ask me how I know. That's pretty great.
Oh, man.
Seinfeld, he's got some good stuff.
He's got some good stuff. I've been watching so much fucking Seinfeld.
I got 3 beverages going. Sorry.
I'll tell you, though, I have 2 issues. We talk about Seinfeld too much on this. It's like, a movie podcast. But I have 2 issues with you I want to bring up before we get into the movies. Okay.
I got
Number
2 issues with
one-
you, and it's these movies. People love when we fight. I mean, we're gonna go at it here. This
yeah,
is shit.
But just about the Seinfeld real quickly. Number one, you act like the 9th season is like so awful, and yet I think like so many of your quotes are from the Merv Griffin show episode.
Well, where are the cameras? I mean, that's
How
like
do you
our.
explain that.
That's our go. 8 and 9. I always say Seinfeld 8 and 9 is my second favorite TV show.
Uh-huh.
It's a massive drop off. They let go of what made the show great, but there's still great jokes. It's just ridiculous. And even that episode is ridiculous. It's a complete sketch. It's a sketch.
Yes.
8 and 9 become a sketch show. But where are the cameras is the one I most often reference. There's not a lot of other ones that I'm referencing.
I feel like there was another one I was watching. I was like, oh, the stop around like a Clydesdale.
Oh, maybe I said that once to you about you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not what I say a lot.
No, it is ridiculous. One of the most ridiculous things is they're all in like Kramer's room in the Merv Griffin thing, and then they act like they're weirded out by Kramer. Like, what are you doing? But it's like you're all sitting there anyway. Like,
well,
like why are you confused by that?
It's a sketch. It's very frustrating. I mean, they turned it into a sketch comedy show. Same with George jackhammering and all the other stuff. It's ridiculous.
But don't you think like I tried to watch Fifth. I tried to go all the way back to Fifth, which I've never done. And
Fifth is like the second best season. Oh my god!
I just feel like there's a lot of failed jokes in that. They're in there. But anyway, we're not here to talk about Seinfeld. We're here.
That's
to talk,
insane. I mean, it's completely insane.
We're here to talk about M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong, which, by the way, I had one of my first hours. I had to say his name for a joke, you know, and I really practiced really hard to get his name right. Like,
what is his name? How do you say it?
Well, now I can't remember, but I was saying it like I would say this is how I'd say it, and people say it was wrong. M. Night Shyamalan. I think that's wrong.
Okay.
And then the correct answer is M. Night fuck. I don't know now, but I worked on it and I did pronounce it correctly. No, Shyamalan.
Let me look. Let me look at it and do it phonetically.
Well, but
Shyamalan.
But that's not correct.
M. Night Shyamalan.
Shyamalan. I think it's M. Night Shyamalan. I think that's it. M. Night Shyamalan. I think that's correct.
But wait, you add an extra syllable. Shyamalan. Like there's an I in there.
Shyamalan?
It's S-H-Y, shy, then Y-A-M, Shyam.
Yeah, but you can't do it phonetically. It's a foreign name. You can't do it. Doing a foreign name phonetically is how you butcher it. You know?
I think I'm closer than you are. You're saying ding dong.
M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong.
I think it's in bad taste what you're doing.
I think it's in bad taste what you're doing.
I'm trying my hardest to pronounce his name right, and you're adding ding dong.
Shyamalan, M. Night Shyamalan. That's it. Well, why don't you just look? Can't you just look up the actual pronunciation, like on like?
Now, are you not doing this on a computer right now? What do you want? A book?
I'm on a computer. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So maybe perhaps you could.
Yeah. Maybe I'll look it. I'll look it up. Hold on. Maybe there's a way to pronounce it correctly. Hold on.
It says right here. Hold on. Indian. He's Indian?
What did you think he was?
I thought he's from like California or something.
What are you, crazy?
Wait, I just lost the sound. What happened to you?
Oh, sorry. I was trying to look it up, the pronunciation.
Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out later.
I got it right here. No, I got it right here.
This is dead air.
All right, fine. I can't find it. God damn it. This is the worst episode. I have COVID. Can I have the COVID excuse?
Yeah, you got brain fog. I mean, all right, let's get into it. Let's talk about this dipshit.
Well, we did his oldest movie and his newest movie, which is called Old. That's fun. And his oldest movie, Sixth Sense, which is the first
There's a movie before Sixth Sense.
Oh, right. Some bullshit movie in like a private school with Rosie O'Donnell or something.
Rosie O'Donnell, I'll watch that.
Yeah, but it's not a horror movie. It was like it wasn't a horror movie.
Was it a horrible movie like these other ones?
Probably. Well, just imagine how bad he is without a twist at the end of it, you know?
Did I ever tell you I masturbated to Rosie O'Donnell?
Really?
There's that movie where she's in the all leather and she wasn't that fat. Look up Rosie O'Donnell leather. She's like a leather lady. And I was kind of into that at the time. I was like 13 or something.
I guess you must have been so into it that even with Rosie O'Donnell in the leather, you were still into it. That's how you know you're into leather.
Well, you know what it was?
When you're jacking off with Roseanne Barr in the leather, you're into the leather.
Well, my big thing is when someone who doesn't seem sexual is being sexual. That's like the hottest thing. That's why I don't like porn. because porn is just
Yes.
like porn people doing porn things. But like Rosie O'Donnell, I watched from VH1 Spotlight. She was this fat comedian that hosted all the shows, and all of a sudden she's in like a leather bondage outfit. So you're like, what?
It's like that curve where Susie's in like a leather outfit and Larry's kind of turned on for the first time.
Yes,
Um,
exactly.
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe she wasn't. Yeah, I mean, I don't know this movie, but it's maybe it's the Shyamalan movie, you know?
No, it's not. It's something else.
So you jacked off to it.
It's Exit to Eden.
Oh yes, it's Dan Aykroyd.
Yes.
It's like S&M kind of comedy. Yeah. I remember that. I don't know if I saw it or not, but I remember the previews.
There's S&M from the makers of SNL. I don't know.
Yes.
All right, let's get into. Can we talk about Old first?
Sure.
Because I really want to just rip into this movie, and the folks like when we trash a movie, and it's obnoxious that you haven't gotten to the point where you're like, I was wrong. It's a piece of shit. It's insane.
Well,
and it's so phony. If you talk about you liking this movie, that it's good, and you hold on to this idea because you watched 10 minutes in the airplane, you thought it was good. You are a phony baloney if you're going to sit here with a straight face and try to convince people this movie's good, and you're going to lose all your followers and fans.
I don't think it's terrible. I think it's a you know, but you got to understand. Look, so much about movies is expectations. I put this on a red eye on a plane that was 6 hours long. The guy next to me is coughing. It's probably how I got COVID. And I'm like watching it and I'm expecting it to be awful. And I'm on the plane and I'm watching it. And yes, the dialogue's not great. Yes, the directing is like very glossy, but like the concept itself of them aging rapidly was upsetting to me, and it was disturbing, and I think at times effective. And the reason I think it's effective is because so many horror movies deal with immortality, and this is one of the few horror movies I've seen that really deal with mortality in a way that kind of really like made it like quite disturbing. The first half, then it really falls apart.
It's really bad. But so wait, explain what you mean.
That at all?
Well, hold on one second.
Quality.
Explain what you mean by most horror movies deal with immortality.
Well, most horror movies deal with ghosts and heaven, and you know, it's kind of like that old Stanley Kubrick thing where he's like, I couldn't really, when he adapted The Shining, it was like difficult for him to adapt it because he's like, I don't really find it scary. If I saw a ghost, I could just be like, oh hey, there's an afterlife. That's great, you know?
Right.
It's like there's like that's the problem with a lot of horror movies. It's like the really scary thing is that there are no ghosts. You know what I mean? That's the scary part.
Right.
So a lot of horror movies ultimately deal with, there is like a spiritual dimension that even though it's scary, it's also like comforting at the same time. So this movie of seeing people rapidly aging, which is what your life feels like, you're just rapidly aging, kind of like hit some, you know, some receptors in me. I was like, damn, this is pretty,
but
like unsettling.
Don't you feel like that's like the most basic? It's like a comedian with a good premise, but the punchline goes nowhere. That's a hack punchline. And also they deliver it like a fucking, like they have Down syndrome for some reason. And you know what I mean? Like the premise of the film cannot make a good film. It's like, oh, that's interesting. Everybody starts aging exponentially. That's like the first seed. That's the thing he says and goes, wouldn't that make a good movie? Then everything from thereafter is as bad as it can get. So that idea is not good enough to carry the worst acting. That Asian fellow who's from a TV show, I guess, is legitimately the worst actor I've ever seen. And everybody I've talked to completely agrees.
Well, let me just make it clear, though. I do think the family is good. I think they're good actors. Like,
which version of the family? Because the kids changed 4 times because they're aging exponentially, but the actors. The other thing is, I have never seen a movie. I cannot think of a single movie that has been made, a big budget Hollywood movie from a director, established director, that has more plot holes. It is like staggering, the plot holes in this movie.
Well, it opens itself up for too many plot holes because the idea that they're all aging rapidly, so it's supposed to be the same time. But then, I mean, to me, the biggest is that the kids are definitely 14 while the parents turn to like 90 at one point, you know? Like the kids don't really age on the same trajectory, right?
But also the kids age more at the same time because, so if you haven't seen the movie, you don't have to, but you should watch it just for the laughs and just to see how stupid
and
it
the
is.
effective imagery about mortality in the first half.
Yeah, the first 10 minutes maybe. But so
I thought the first half, yeah. But
here's how it goes though. So the kids are aging so quick that they have to get different actors. So they go from like a 4 and 6 year old kid. The next scene, it's like a 12 and 10-year-old actor.
So it's like 6 years, which I guess, and then the parents don't look that much different.
Parents don't look different at all. And the parents remain the same actors the entire time.
Yes.
And they get like, first of all, their hair doesn't grow at all. Beards and hair doesn't grow. Forget about it. They don't get cavities. Their teeth don't fall out. None of that stuff matters. They don't eat food. They don't need any food. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. It also goes into like, I don't really understand it. The concept itself is weird because it's like everything that they do is like actually what, like every minute is actually, every second is actually like a week or something or some bullshit like that. Like the baby dies because it doesn't get attention quick enough. What did you remember that part?
Yes.
I will say, don't you think it's pretty upsetting when they bring, but also, and this is another plot hole, is that like they decompose like super. Oh no, I guess that makes they decompose super quickly, but that baby turns to ash very quickly.
Yes, like a few minutes later.
Isn't ash like? Isn't that like thousands of years kind of thing going on?
Of course, it doesn't make any sense. The baby's just sand. It's not even ash. It's like sand. It just doesn't make any sense. And then here's the biggest
fossilize after like 3 months in the coffin.
and here's the other thing is like the craziest one. Just to jump ahead, the craziest one. Spoiler alert coming right here. The way they get out of this, they swim. So they hold their breath for 10 months.
Which is also confusing because when they start swimming at the end, and I'm like, oh, yeah, you're going to hold your breath for so long. Oh, that's why those other people died when they tried to swim. Right? Because that other,
I think
the Asian guy goes in the water and he like drowns immediately, you know?
Yes. Yeah. But these two, they don't have to, like, it's just mind blowing that nobody was like, wait, what? I guess maybe he has final cut and he didn't think of it. But like, so they swim and they're holding their breath for like an unbelievable amount of time in a regular world. Also, a hilarious thing that happens, M. Night Shyamalan, he's the one watching and he just goes, I waited for 90 seconds. They're dead. 90 seconds? You can't give it 8 minutes? He's like, they were underwater for 90 seconds. Trust me, they're dead.
It's also such a, like, you know how movies try to like, a lot of movies do a good, like a little wink at the filmmaker, like it being like self-reflexive. Like you have Phantom Thread, you get a sense that he, you know, Daniel Day-Lewis represents in a way like P.T. Anderson's filmmaking, or other movies you have that. But there's nothing more embarrassingly obvious than having the director literally looking behind a camera in that shot, like in terms of like just an obvious self-reflexive metaphor. It's just like embarrassing. You know, to literally have it be a camera the director's looking through, like it is like symbolism for retards.
Also, Andrew Chavone, who was here last night, was making me laugh because he had a great point, because we just immediately just destroyed the movie.
Yeah.
And he's upset with you for even kind of liking it. But he had a great point. It's like the big reveal is they're being watched for medical, you know, the medical community is watching them, right? For research. And he had a hilarious point. He's like, so all the research is just M. Night Shyamalan, the bus driver, with binoculars from like 2 miles away being like, it's working. There's no blood work. There's no exams. There's no stethoscope. It's literally just a guy up on a mountain being like, yep, we figured it out.
Also, when they present these medications to like, you know, they present them to whatever the FDA, and the FDA is like, well, how can you prove this? They're just like, you don't want to know. Just trust me. just trust me. It works. Just trust me. The seizure medication works for 16 years. And I know your job is to look at our clinical trials to make sure we did everything correctly, but we can't tell you anything. And you're just going to have to go ahead and approve it.
Just trust us. We got the bus driver with binoculars. He's on it. He's looking from a really far distance.
So he knows what's going on.
See him? He made a few really overrated movies, and he's got binoculars.
Don't you love the part, in terms of the great dialogue in cinema history, when they start talking about them being aging rapidly, and the one black guy looks to the black woman and goes, I bet this is the one time they wish they were black. Don't you think like you're...
It is really astounding. Like, people should watch it. You should go watch it if you haven't seen it, to see... I can't believe how bad the acting and writing is. The dialogue is shockingly bad, and the performances are really bad. And it's the key thing I always talk about. What's amazing is it shows you how important a script is, because a script can make bad actors look great and great actors look bad. The woman whose name I always forget, who's great, the Phantom Thread woman.
She's great in this.
She is the worst she's ever been. She's the best actor out there for sure.
I'm actually like, I don't know. I was actually, it almost became like a challenge to me. Like the dialogue is bad. And I was kind of impressed how well everyone in that family kind of dealt with bad dialogue. I honestly thought it was like pretty impressive how they could like make bad dialogue natural. And I thought she did a great job.
I thought it was so bad. I thought that Asian guy was like a joke. It was like a sketch. Yes, and Siobhan agrees and Sarah agrees, so you're wrong.
Well, here's the thing, though. The other issue is like, I agree the movie falls apart and is not great. But like in terms of the first half being effective and disturbing and relentless, it is relentless. Like everyone kind of dies in a pretty like cruel, fucked up way for like a PG-13 horror movie or whatever. I do think you watch with Sarah, right? Like you're making fun of it from the get-go. I was watching it in a way where, I don't know, when you're making fun of it from the get-go, it is hard to like lose yourself in some of the parts,
we weren't making fun of it from the get-go. We started making fun of it when it got really wicked stupid. And it was also bad. The acting when he's like, "What do you do for a living?" It was just bad.
The kids asking that?
Their execution is bad. It's bad. It's bad, dude. It looks like a sketch comedy. It feels like a sketch. And then the diversity is like hilarious. It's just like
the diversity is like it is. I mean, the diversity is like, well, first of all, at this point, it's pretty much racist because that group of scientists are trying to kill everyone from every ethnicity. You know what I mean? Like you're like, ooh, this is a diverse movie, but those scientists, like, this is not what you should be inclusive of. Is like killing people. So they're very racist. Those scientists.
Here's another point. I'm jumping all over the place, but it's just there's so many bad things.
Yeah.
They also do a thing that doesn't make sense where they reveal that they've escaped. Obviously, we know they're going to escape.
Yeah.
So it's not that much tension anyways. But so they escape. The way they reveal they escape, they come back into the real world where the doctors are there. And all of a sudden, the two people whose clothes still fit, by the way, the clothes they had on when they were 9 still fit as adults. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about it. Everyone's clothes are perfectly fitting.
Is it definitely the same clothes? I didn't notice that.
Yeah, where else would they have changed?
Well, maybe they showed some stuff.
So then they come back. So they reveal that they've escaped, and it's supposed to be like, whoa, they're back. Then they retroactively go and show the escape with like strings playing as though we're going to be moved and affected, but we already watched them escape.
I know. I thought they're going to show like a twist there, like something happened, but they just show them. Like they present it like it's such a big deal. Like this is what really happened. And then it's just them coming up to the surface.
Yes. Thank you. That's what's so strange about it.
The second half. The second half's garbage. Yeah.
It's literally like, so the through line of the movie is like, they're going to swim for it, which even that note didn't make sense. They read the note 40 years later. It takes them 50 years to read the note. It's like, my dad doesn't like seaweed.
Well, that is like hilariously forced in it, almost to the point of a sketch where he goes, maybe this clue I haven't brought up till now will get us out of it.
I know. And then it's so ambiguous.
Don't you have that clue in your pocket? And then he's like, first of all, I watched the movie in 2 sittings. I don't remember the kid do they show the kid giving him that note?
I can't remember.
But it's weird. He like takes this note out, which is it's really like, and that Shyamalan used to be really good at like the twist or like setting stuff up. But he's like, maybe this note, even if the kid gave me, you've totally forgotten about, maybe this will help. And he takes it out and he seems to decode that fairly quickly.
Yes.
He looks down at the ground and like 30 seconds later he comes out, which it looks like Zodiac. It looks like a pretty intense clue. It's like hieroglyphics and stuff. It's like fucking, and he maybe got, I don't know, maybe read like a bunch of books on decoding really quickly in the sand, but he decodes that fairly quickly.
Decoding Fanning. Yeah, so it says my dad doesn't like the coral, and he figures out my uncle, whatever, so he figures that out. But so the through line is they're like, we're going to swim for it. Then they swim underwater, seemingly for about 20 years, which doesn't make any sense.
But
so
why?
Then
but before, yeah, sorry.
They're swimming. They get caught on the coral. It cuts to real world. They appear. Now they're here. We go, okay, they got it. They survived. Then it cuts back to them swimming more and then just coming above the water. And it's like,
Yeah.
Can you believe it?
I literally, when they had that flash, I thought they're going to show them like open a portal in the ground or something. Like I thought they're going to show like a crazy, like, didn't you think they're going to show something crazy right then?
I don't
Like
know.
a
At that
Truman
point,
show, like they take out a coral and then the ground opens and there's a tunnel. I thought they're going to show something impressive. They
No.
just showed you the one thing, like, yeah, it's just crazy. Yeah. No, that's crazy. I don't understand the swimming thing. Like the Asian guy comes in and swims and he dies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why does he die?
I don't know. I don't know if he drowns or he gets stuck in the dimension. Like I think he just ages. I have no idea. The most effective part, by the way, is when the kid is in the water and the dead woman floats and hits him. That early on.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of very freaky parts of the movie,
and her like
can you
bony
admit
part
that?
is
Can
just
you admit
ridiculous.
A couple parts are a little freaky.
That one part, I just told you that one part when she's standing there and the baby, the guy floats. I mean, also the other scene that's the most frustrating scene in any movie ever. I was literally yelling and mad. Is when the older foreign guy, one of the many foreign guys, I guess, comes with the knife and he's slashing the main couple.
Yeah,
and the guy he's slashing is literally just sitting there like this.
Yeah.
He doesn't try to run or fight back. It's insane. You gotta everybody go watch it. It is
he's
the
like
most
old
frustrating.
And wide.
But the other guy's not. He's healthy enough, and he was older than him to begin with. He's healthy enough. Also, her hearing comes and goes. She's like going deaf. She's like, she can't hear anything. So she's like full deaf. And then like 5 minutes later, she's like, yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Also, that like pretty strong black guy, the doctor kills fairly quickly with that knife.
Yes.
And then he seems to cut those that old couple about 400 times. I feel like they both got stabbed quite a bit. And then they seem to be, but I guess it heals quickly. But then why did it heal for the black guy?
I don't know.
Did the black guy not get the healing powers?
None of it makes sense. It's truly a mess. It's just a mess of shit. A poorly executed shit.
Yeah, I think I'm feeling like my levels are really loud. It is a mess. I do think the first half, and granted, I was on a plane. Can you be in my situation for a second? Can you imagine my situation? You're on a plane, it's a red eye. You think this movie's gonna be awful. Can you imagine thinking the first half is pretty good?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, like I went in, by the way, I respect your opinion. That's why I like talking to you. So I went in thinking like, all right, cool. This is going to be neat. I'm excited. And I thought like from the first dialogue, there was some neat things. I thought like direction-wise, I thought he did some cool things. There's some neat cinematography. There's some that's like eye rolling, but some of it was cool. Some of it was presented weird. I felt like it had like a Hitchcockian thing. They were trying to do like a classic thing. The scenery was beautiful. There was a few things that I was like, okay, I can get behind this. But I thought literally every bit of dialogue and acting was like humiliatingly bad.
Yeah, I mean the dialogue wasn't great. I do think the style, like it looks so beautiful and glossy, very MTV, which seems like bad for a horror movie, but the movie was so like relentless that I think that contrast was interesting, of it being a beautiful beach and all this terrible stuff happening,
And what did you think of that twist? Were you like, wow, oh shit?
I didn't even realize it was a twist. I was like, that's the twist. I mean, usually an M. Night Shyamalan twist is like the mother's actually dead and the father's like, God. Like the twist is just that the people you were watching, you knew they were being observed.
Right.
So it's like you already knew they're being observed. So the idea that the people who are observing them are using it for research was kind of already, it seemed like that was kind of already, it's not much of a twist. It's just kind of fully fleshing out something you already knew was there. Do you know what I mean?
Also, what is he trying to say there? Is he like anti-vax? Like it feels like, dude, like, doesn't it feel like the lesson is sort of like the medical community will do anything to us? They don't give a fuck. And they're what do you call it? Immoral.
Yeah. Well,
and does this happen during COVID? So it feels like, which by the way, I don't disagree with that. I'm not like saying like you don't shit on our medical community. I'm down to.
Well, I keep on forgetting it's a COVID movie, isn't it? Like
it's happened during COVID, yeah. And by the way, the book that it's based on did not have that part. It didn't explain it, which would have been better.
Oh,
yes,
so much better. That's
so much better.
Creepy. Yeah, I mean that's what's the creepy part. Like this, oh god. Yeah, I mean, I think I just, you know what it is? I think probably the book's amazing, and that concept is so scary. Some of it was still effective in this shitty movie, you know.
So he made the conscious decision in a time of a medical emergency, health crisis time, to make a movie of like the medical community is evil and immoral. Maybe not
Yeah,
evil. Because they're trying to save lives, but they're costing lives doing it.
I think he's also kind of a weirdo Christian dude too, so there might be a connection there, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know much about it. I've never been into M. Night Shyamalan, which we're going to talk about his breakthrough movie as well.
Yeah, I guess he could be saying like, I don't know. The movie is the second half was so stupid. I didn't even try to like look for a message there, but I don't know. You might be right. Maybe he's saying like, yeah, he's saying, I don't know. He's saying we've gone all the like the vaccine research or like the tests are like immoral because we're putting people's lives at risk. I don't know.
I mean, it feels like a very right wing thing, which I'm fine with. By the way, with COVID, I'm like alt right fucking insane.
Yeah, but that's
right
a weird. I mean, all the vaccine studies have been. They're not really giving anyone COVID. They're just studying people who have it. You know, it would be like if they were legitimately giving people COVID. You know, for study.
Well, that's what it feels like, though. That's what I mean. It feels like this theory. It feels almost like QAnon. Like, hey, man, Big Brother is fucking killing us to try to figure out to benefit.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I think he just is a washed up guy and keeps on fucking. But the man, he keeps on making like these failures, but he keeps on getting movies. I guess he makes money still.
Well, I think he makes money, and I think he has. It's like people that are like Dane Cook. Remember, he used to be something, but like he still sells theaters. I think there's still people that are very excited about an M. Night Shyamalan movie. They're like, yes, that's our guy.
I mean, I guess we watched it, so we obviously.
Well, you made me watch it, but which, by the way, next week, finally, I get to choose. You keep choosing everything, and next week, this is going to be exciting. Next week, we're doing Truman Capote in Cold Blood, the film in Cold Blood, and then we're doing the film Capote, 40 years apart. It's going to be amazing, covering the same stuff. Two great movies. I'm just going to sell my hand right now. Two fucking killer classic movies based on a book that you love, some book, whatever.
Great. I'm going to talk about how the book's amazing. I'm going to be that douche. It's going to be great. You should read it in the next week.
I can't read a book in a week. What are you shitting me? I read 2 pages 4 times in a row. I'm reading 3 books at the same time right now.
Oh, that's impressive.
Not really. If I was finishing all of them.
I'm reading 3 words a day in each book. I guess eventually a handicapped person could read 3 books. It just take like 50 years, you know?
Yeah, but 50 years is 2 minutes in this movie. Whoa. Anyways, next week we're talking classics, Capote and In Cold Blood. Let's talk about The Sixth Sense.
And I won't be having brain fog. I don't even know what's happening right now. I'm do I seem dumb?
Not more than normal. I still have fog. I'm all fogged up.
It's a lot of fog, a lot of brain fog. So let's talk about the movie that was so good that he still has a career. It was so good that
let's say effective. So effective.
So effective. Now, I love this movie. We saw it together, which, you know, you got to give me. I mean, it was fun to watch it with you all, and it was fun. But you got to give me, when we're a bunch of comics in a room, it's so easy to make fun of everything, you know?
Yes. It is hard to watch this movie. We're talking about The Sixth Sense now.
Yeah.
It's hard to watch this. And this is my criticism of the film and the filmmaker, is that you're like, and you say it, everybody says it, it's hard to watch this movie once you know the surprise. So how great can a film be if knowing the surprise? Doesn't that mean the surprise is the biggest thing? Like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, there's this great moment, I always bring it up, where you realize Chief can hear and talk. And it's a shock. And you're like, wow, that's an amazing thing. And then he gets lobotomized, which is pretty surprising. But you watch it a second, third, fifth, 50th time, it's still moving. You don't need that moment.
Because the twist says something about life. And there's an emotional undercurrent to that twist. In Sixth Sense, the twist is purely the twist. It's not like you're not moved by the idea that someone's dead, thinks they're alive. You know what I mean? It's a cool twist, but it's ultimately shallow. There's not like an emotional undercurrent. I mean, that's how I feel about murder mysteries. I think there's only very few great whodunits, because it's the whodunits that actually say something about life, like Chinatown or L.A. Confidential, Gosford Park. Those are the whodunits where or Mystic River, where you find out the killer is not just simply, oh, I never thought it was that guy. It's more about like, what does this say about life that it's that person who killed that person, you know?
Or
so
Zodiac, a whodunit that you don't find out who done it.
Exactly. So this twist is purely for twist's sake. But I will say this, in that era of twists, there were other twists that were trying to say something about life that were so convoluted that this is the best twist out of that era. Fight Club makes no sense, you know. Fucking Usual Suspects makes no sense.
Agreed.
Unfair twist. So in that era, this was like a big era of twists. That was like a twist where you could actually say, hey, this twist at least makes fucking sense. You go back, it connects, and it does what a twist should do, which is a twist should make it possible for you to guess it. Like it has to be vulnerable enough to be like, put the clues out there. So when you see the twist, you're like, why didn't I think of that? It was right there. But when you do a twist like Usual Suspects, you can't be like, why didn't I realize that this entire movie was a lie? And even though they saw us show the scene where Kevin Spacey is in the same scene as Kaiser Soze, why didn't I just say that was complete bull? You know what I mean? So like, it is a very fair twist.
Right. It's an interesting compliment to a movie is that you're naming shitty movies, like ineffective movies, to be like, isn't it good because Usual Suspects doesn't actually hold up?
Well, that's what we do with life. Anytime you're like, my life sucks, what is the most positive thing? It's so much better for these fucking poor bastard, or worse for these bastards over here, you know? I'm doing what you do for life.
I mean,
it could get much worse.
Yeah, but that shouldn't be the marker of great art. But my point is, it feels like with his movies, it's like a joke writer that comes up with the punchline first and then is like, let me fill in these details to get to this thing I just thought of. It feels like the twist, like it feels like when I watch M. Night Shyamalan's movies, I feel like he's like, wouldn't it be interesting if a character was dead the whole time? Okay, let me build a movie around that. The twist is the thing. It's not a compliment to a movie that you're like, you got to see the twist. Wait till you see the twist.
I agree. It makes a movie. If a movie is 100% dependent on a twist, then the movie, it becomes a bit of a gimmick. I agree. Though sometimes, like, I don't know. I feel like Chinatown is pretty great because of twists. You know what I mean?
Yes, but it's also, the performances are amazing. The dialogue's amazing. The style is amazing. And it's very layered. It's about real shit.
It still would have been good either without the twist. But Sixth Sense is a good movie. Like, I don't think Sixth Sense, I know there's some bad dialogue, but there is some real emotion in Sixth Sense. Haley Joel Osment is great. Bruce Willis is great. There is like an emotional undercurrent. It's not just purely a twist movie. You know?
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad movie, but I don't think it's a great movie. I think it's a fun movie that is most effective the first time you see it. And it is hard to recall what it was like to watch it without knowing.
It's tough because it was so scary when I saw it in theaters, you know? And now we're all watching it as, you know, bitter comics in your living room. And the kid is like, you want to see my gun collection? And he turns around, he has a hole in the back of his head. And you're like, how's the hole in the back of the head? When did he get shot exactly? And I'm like, that's a great point. But like,
thank you.
But like,
just perfectly clean face, head. And he's like, whoa.
But I feel like any movie that's not a comedy is going to kind of suffer. Any genre movie is going to suffer if it's a bunch of comics watching it. You know what I mean? Like, especially a horror movie, we have to like kind of like buy into it on some level. But I remember that scene being so scary, but I guess it's not really scary, but I still think that the tension in the movie is great. And I still think like the mood is great. And there is some real heart in the movie. Yeah, it's not a great movie, but it's very good.
Keep in mind, you were 17 years old also.
Yes.
And now you're 51. But no, I think it's a good movie. But I do remember watching it then and being like, oh, wow. I did not. That's cool.
Yes.
And being like, all right, it didn't linger with me. It became a cultural phenomenon, which I love that. Like, to me, Blair Witch Project is a much better, cooler, funner, scarier movie than this.
Yeah,
Where are you on Blair Witch Project?
I don't really remember it. It's shaky. I remember the ending being really scary, but I guarantee you that movie must be so boring now to watch.
I love it. I think that
Have you
movie
watched it
was
recently.
I mean, 4 or 5 years ago. We should do Blair Witch at some point. But that movie was another movie at the same time period that everybody was talking about. You had to see it. Like I was in high school and it was like, shit. I think it was the same year, 99. And it was like, you got to go see this movie. It's crazy. And I knew it wasn't, people would like, it's real. Oh my God. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. That's stupid.
Yeah.
But even watching it, you're like, it is boring, but it's slow burn. You're like, damn, that's fun.
I will say this about Sixth Sense, though. It has a bit of that Spielberg heart that like I think I really connect to. Like the
Spielberg cheese, I think is what you mean.
It's cheese, but I guess like it's cheese with good acting. That's what Spielberg is. Like, and honestly, I think his best movie is like E.T. I mean, I know there's like a couple cheesy elements, but it's hard. What?
Steven Spielberg's best movie is E.T.?
I don't know if it's best
Jaws. Schindler's List and Jaws. It's at third at best.
Fine, third at best. But either way, there's like beautiful things in there that go beyond the sarcasm that you can make fun of it. There's beautiful moments that like, it's not bad. It might be sentiment, but it's earned sentiment. When he says goodbye to E.T. at the end, it is like transcendent art.
Yeah, E.T. is 500 times better than Sixth Sense. E.T. rules. It's not as good as Jaws or Schindler's List and possibly Raiders of the Lost Ark. Maybe even Hook I might put above E.T.
That's insane. Hook?
That is insane. I take back the part about Hook, but the rest is true.
Hey, isn't it funny that Robin Williams committed suicide, but in Hook, you have Dustin Hoffman wanting to commit suicide and them trying to convince him not to?
I don't think it's funny at all that Robin Williams committed suicide. Jesus Christ.
You throwing me under the bus.
I mean, you're saying Shyamalan Ding Dong and you're glad Robin Williams committed suicide. What are you? It's like I'm working with Lenny Bruce here.
Man, that Lenny Bruce bit where he like calls everyone a slur in the audience, but then he calls someone the N-word, but it's like he calls it like that bit would not work today.
No,
like he couldn't like say the N-word and then everyone get offended, but like, no, but I called the other guy Gook, so it's fine. Like that bit, like
well, we're back around to before Lenny Bruce times.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
Back then, Lenny Bruce went on trial. There was like a trial. Now you're just like, you're out, no trial.
Yeah, you're right.
You heard what you said. There's no.
You're right. No trial. No, yeah. At least Lenny had a trial.
Back then it was the right. Now it's the left. We switched that.
Well,
like in the 60s.
Right. I mean, they're banning books in schools. The right sucks too.
I'm not saying the right doesn't suck, but
yeah.
I'm saying the free speech stuff. Don't you think the parties have switched in free speech? I mean, I don't even know if this is up for debate.
I don't know. I mean, I definitely we're like in the left world, so we see so much of that. But like, I also feel like right people try to get other like people canceled all the time too. They're kind of just hiding.
Oh yeah, no,
free speech thing.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Everyone sucks. Everyone's a loser. But
can I say something about Sixth Sense? How about the fact we're here to talk about this great movie, and almost within 30 seconds we started talking about E.T. What does that say about the Sixth Sense?
All right, that was a backtrack. I'm saying I do think Haley Joel Osment. There's something about his performance that I find really touching, and something about him and Bruce Willis. Of like Bruce Willis like wanting to help him. There is some emotional Spielberg cheese dick that I get. I fall for. I fall for Spielberg cheese dick sometimes. And there's some of that cheese dick in Sixth Sense that I really fall for. And I do actually think it's really sad when they say goodbye at the end. Like E.T.
But I thought this is a weird thing, that scene. We talked about this. Maybe I misunderstood. They say goodbye, but it's not like Bruce Willis is no longer a ghost. They could just see each other, right?
Well, he's kind of saying our therapy's over. So they're probably not going to see each other outside of therapy sessions.
But Bruce Willis has nothing to do, right? His life doesn't end, does he? Because he's like, I'm going to leave my wife alone now. But like, where's he going to go? He still exists, doesn't he? I don't understand.
Well, once he realizes all that at the end, he goes up to heaven because he's resolved his issues.
Oh, okay. So it's like a purgatory thing.
Yeah. That's how ghosts work. They have an unfinished business and then they resolve it. And then they go to, sit on God's lap. I'm
not that familiar with ghosts because I'm an adult, so I get confused by the ghost shit. I think that's ultimately my issue is like, it's like they try to have heart.
Oh no!
In a ghost movie.
Hello.
What? Can you not hear me? I hear you and see you. What?
All right, we're good. We're good. Yeah.
Oh, I was unstable. Let me turn my Wi-Fi off on my phone. Can you hear me? See me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Fine.
Oh, I heard you the whole time, but I think my Wi-Fi is funky.
What were you saying?
It's supposed to have like heart, but also be scared, but it's ghost, so it takes me out of it a little bit, I guess.
Well, there's a couple of things that like Sarah brought up a good point. Like all those. She's like, because all those ghosts come into Bruce. Are you just stone faced or are you frozen?
I don't know. I'm here. I mean, I can hear you.
I thought you were just stone faced. Fuck.
I hear you. Go talk.
All right. Okay. All right. So it sucks that like Sarah brought up like the ghost. She's like, oh, a lot of people died at Hallie Joel Osment's house, and then you find out they didn't die at his house. Those ghosts died, and then we're like, let's go to Hallie Joel Osment's house. Like it's just weird to think of these ghosts being like, all right, let's go to. But I guess they want to be seen, which makes kind of sense. They kind of gravitate towards him because they want to be seen. Though I will say, I think the biggest hole in the movie is why does Bruce Willis think he has a appointment with Hallie Joel Osment? If you're going to be really literal, like why does he think Hallie Joel Osment is on his like Hallie Joel Osment's mom didn't ask? Like why does he think he's about to deal with Hallie Joel Osment?
Yes, I don't understand that either. I'm glad you bring that up. Can you hear me right now?
Yeah, I can hear you right now.
Okay. Well, I was going to bring that up too, but I was afraid I was going to sound stupid because I haven't watched the movie in 20 years. So I'm like, there must be something there that I'm missing and I forget. Yes, I'm just going to repeat what you said, but I thought the same thing. I'm like, why is he standing out there? Because it seems like he's been booked and they're both expecting to see each other. Like Hallie Joel Osment feels like he's like, all right, I'm going to go talk to Bruce Willis. And Bruce Willis is like, I'm going to go talk to him. How and why did that happen? I don't understand it.
I don't know. That is like a big hole. They don't like... It seems like they could have explained that, like he was going to have a session before he died. But no, but it was like 2 years ago, right? Yeah. Like he got shot. So
it says the next fall. So it's only a few months ago.
So maybe he did have an appointment and failed, but like it doesn't really make sense. Also, at no point is the kid's like, is this how therapy works? Where you just follow me around? Like at no point.
Right.
At no point is, I know the kid's only like 7, but shouldn't it be like, aren't I supposed to go to like a office with you? You just like pop up in you're like a therapist chaperone. Like none of my therapists have just like showed up at work and been like, how's it going?
By the way, also as a guy who loves therapy and studies psychology a lot and goes to therapy and loves recovery and all these things, one of the worst therapists ever. You're not supposed to just look at a person and start predicting their feelings. That is like the worst version of therapy.
Well, because it's all ego. He's like, if I can tell you what's going wrong with you, you step forward. But it's like just trying to have himself be impressive. And obviously we find out it's bad therapy because he gets it wrong, which he's going to. And now he looks like a psycho.
Yeah, you're supposed to let them do the talking and tell you.
You're not supposed to be like a therapist where you're like, I fucking knew it. I got it. I'm so smart. Like, you're not supposed to like... Also, yeah, and also he keeps on saying like that other kid's a little bitch, which is like not good therapy. He's like, you did great. And that other kid, I agree. He did suck balls. He's a terrible actor. It's like, you're not supposed to like talk. I assume if you're a child like therapist, you shouldn't talk shit about the other kids, right?
I don't think so. Although my therapist every once in a while will be like, he sucks.
Oh, really? About like a comic?
Yeah.
Me?
Well, I mean, he doesn't say he sucks. He just says like, it's just too loud for me. I like the jokes, but he's yelling.
I also can't stand Jared Freed, but
no, I'm kidding. No, but like I'll explain somebody in my life that I'm like, I can't stand this person does this, and he's like, I know they suck.
Yeah, but if you were a kid, like he might not, like, you know what I mean? Like you can handle it, but if you're a kid, you're probably not like that other kid in your class is a real fucking homo. You should like, you shouldn't like talk shit about other kids, don't you think? If you're a child therapist,
I think so.
But he's also dead, and who knows what's going on.
There's something. The movie was fun. I mean, I'm a product of the '90s, and it was exciting to have a movie that everyone was talking about. It brings you back. I mean, we looked it up. The movie made like $650 million, which is something that will never happen again. And it's like a pretty. It's not his first movie, but it feels like a debut. So it was exciting, and I like event movies. But like I said, like Blair Witch was that. Blair Witch was that, and it was better. I thought.
But I think Sixth Sense was much more popular. I mean, obviously, because I think Blair Witch was probably rated R too. Like Sixth Sense is like a horror movie, but also something like where like it's somehow like a family friendly horror movie. Or at least
is it a horror movie though? It feels like Hook. It's like similar to me. I love Hook.
It is. Well, and the other thing is, once you know the twist, honestly, once you know the twist is essentially that nothing you saw was scary. Because the ghosts are just asking for help. So once you know the twist, you're just watching a movie about a gay little kid trying to help these ghosts. But like,
well, that's how I felt upon rewatching it. I did have that moment. I'm like, who am I supposed to care about right now? I kind of know. I do think the movie, when you take away the twist, there's not that much there. It's not a bad movie. It's just kind of like, oh, okay, fun.
The only bad guy in the movie is Tommy, the other actor. He's the only real bad guy in the because all the ghosts are essentially good. Oh, except for the mother who poisoned that kid. She's bad.
Yeah, it's just kind of flat for me. But maybe I'm just missing it. I don't know. I just watch it, and even then, I was like, oh, okay. It's never a movie that lingered with me that I really was like blown away by.
It's also really bad that like some of the ghosts, when you see them, they all like explain themselves. Like they sum it up so quickly. It's not as scary. Like that woman in the kitchen. She's like, "You don't want supper again? Well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to kill myself." Like they just kind of sum up everything where you just know exactly what happened. You know, the kid's like, "Let me show you my dad's gun." like it's kind of like it might be a little scarier if they weren't so like, you know, like, oh, I know exactly what happened now. You know what I mean? Like if you had some mystery about it.
Yeah.
Like
I just
like mystery might have made it a little scarier, but I still think like the music's great. I think the moment where he says, "I see dead people," and the music is like building is like a goosebumpy moment. That's great.
Well, I love iconic moments. I do love movies that have those scenes when you watch a movie and you see all the things leading up and you see that scene you've seen in every compilation or
I know.
thing. You're like, oh, there's that iconic moment. I mean, like Roy Schneider coming up, Scheider.
But
those moments are like, wow, fun movie, the magic of movies.
But that is like just outside of even, yes, it's been elevated by that, but that is a great moment. Like just outside of it, just watching it the first time, that's a great moment. Like they've slowly built up this movie. It actually is built up very slowly, much like Spielberg. There's like slow tension built up without really showing much. And then when the kid reveals his secret, it is kind of like, I don't know, there's something about it that is very like magical in that moment. I think it's Bruce Willis's reaction. He's like pretty like, I don't know. There's something about that moment that is kind of very powerful. You know?
Well, and there's a clever thing that they do in that scene too, where he says, "I see dead people," and it doesn't linger on him. It immediately cuts to Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Which is a fun, subtle thing that they do where you're like, hey, everybody, this is a dead person. I see a dead person right now.
And it is that kind of thing where when you watch it again, there's so many obvious clues. I'd actually love to watch it with like an adult who's never seen it. I'm curious if they would like guess it because like there's like a couple amazing moments that they just let it out there. Like you see him try to go through that door in the basement, it's locked, and then you see him going down those stairs. So like that's kind of a magical moment in terms of movies where you don't question something, but in a way the movie did not lie to you. It did show you him not being able to go downstairs and then him going downstairs. Obviously it didn't show him go through a wall, but it pretty much suggests that.
But it also suggests
questioning it. You know?
But in a movie also, if he wasn't a ghost, you just assume he went and found the key and then time has passed and he's walking down.
Yeah, I guess you're right. But it's still cool, I think, to like let those I just hate a lot of twists where it's cheating, where there's no way you could have guessed it because they like there's an unreliable thing going on. I do think the movie does a good job of letting that twist out there for anyone to see, you know?
But you also have to explain that, like, well, there's amount of self-denial because it is crazy that for so long he wasn't like, boy, my wife will not react to me at all.
Yes,
but I'll keep going home.
Yes, it's pretty self-deceptive, but it makes me think about the things we like. I don't know. There's something about that. I guess I don't think it's purely a shallow twist. I think there is something about self-deception in that movie that's interesting. Like, you know, I got scammed this year, you know, and there was a lot of self-deception involved in him scamming me. I mean, granted, I'm a moron, but there's a lot of things I just assumed, preconceived assumptions, like he was a fan, the guy who messaged me. And then there's so many little clues I ignored because I had this preconceived notion. So the movie kind of gets into this where he's like, because he thinks he didn't die, and because we don't think he died, even though there are all these obvious clues, we do let our preconceived notions make a narrative for us. You know what I mean? Very easily that ignores clues, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, no. And if I was in that position, I came back as a ghost and I thought I was alive, I definitely wouldn't be like, wait, am I a ghost? I'd be like, I guess my wife hates me. Except I would be like, please talk to me. For God's sakes, I need you.
Well, there's that great Nate Bargatze bit about how like people like not talking in a marriage is so common. People saw that movie and just assumed, oh yeah, that's just a marriage, even though we saw him get shot.
That's
like,
funny.
Yeah.
No, it's fun. I think it's a pretty good movie. I think it's his best movie. I hate most of his movies. I do think he comes up with a twist first and then builds a movie around it. And go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I will say Unbreakable is also great.
I don't remember Unbreakable. I think I saw it. I can't remember, but I just can't. I'm not into it. I just feel like it's just like, guess what? And I hate that thing of like, this means something. Heads up, we're doing a thing. It's a trick. I'm just like, okay, great, whatever.
You know what he had like though. Like I do think the other thing that makes this movie is Bruce Willis. I think Bruce Willis is an action star who's amazingly good at being like sensitive.
You got a hard on for Bruce Willis.
I think he's underrated. I think he's underrated in this movie. I think he has a sensitivity to children in this movie that's like shows a lot of range. I mean,
I think he's perfectly rated. I do. I think he's good. I think he's considered good, and I think he's good. I don't think he's
nominated
great.
for 12 Monkeys. He should have been nominated.
He's great. I didn't like the drool, but I think he's great. And
that might not have been him.
You ever watch Time Bandits?
No, I never saw that one. Was it good?
I was watching that on the plane. See, I'm different than a plane. I have a harder time watching movies on the plane. I can't concentrate. I have to watch something I know on a plane.
I think I love anything on a plane. You put Forrest Gump on a plane, I think I'd love it. I think I'm just
I agree there.
I'm less critical in the air.
All right, I gotta wrap up.
Yeah, you've been like so much more. Like I've been like the lovey-dovey guy on this episode.
But yeah, but these movies sucks. I mean, old sucks. Old sucks. It just sucks. I mean, like I defy one of our fans to watch Old and explain. Go to the comments and tell us how it is good.
Maybe it's just COVID for me. Maybe I've had it for like a couple of weeks and I'm just like loving every movie.
I don't know, because I hated you when I had COVID too. But no, Sixth Sense is fun. Next week, though, we're watching In Cold Blood. We're watching Capote. 2 fucking bangers. And they're going to hate the episode because you're going to talk about the books or whatever, but I'm going to talk about how fucking great these movies are.
Great
classics.
Movies. By the way, here's the twist today. I don't have COVID. That's the M. Night Shyamalan twist.
Oh, nice. Or you are COVID.
I do have COVID. It's awful. Well, it's fine. It's,
Is it awful? You seem exactly the same. You seem exactly normal.
Do I?
Yeah. It's like,
I don't know. I don't want to be, it's so hard when you get COVID because you don't want to be the guy who's like, take this seriously. That guy's the worst, But you also want to be the guy who's like, yeah, it's a mild cold. It's somewhere in between. It's not just a mild cold, I feel fluey.
It's not great. Yeah. I don't know. It's not great. It's not the worst. Like I said, I went for a run and smoked cigars and hung out with it.
You went for a run on the whole, like immediately when you had it?
Day 2, like tomorrow, I went for a run, 3 miles.
I mean, it's hard for me to run when don't have COVID, but like,
I mean, I hear you trying to walk up there. My whole house is coming down. Pictures are falling off the walls. All right, let's plug some stuff. I updated my website, Comedian Joe List, my special. I finally put my special on my website after 2 years. I'm a fucking idiot. And I'm coming up. I got Austin coming up. I got Tampa coming up. I got Boston coming up. I got Key West coming up. A whole bunch of dates, Fort Worth, and they're all on my website now. I finally updated my website. And subscribe to my channel because my special's coming out there. I got to get it to at least 20,000. Subscribe to Raanan's channel, for God's sakes, and tell some friends about this. We have a great, funny, fun movie podcast. If you have friends that like movies, go tell them to watch this.
Please watch it. We love the support. And you can see me, I guess, on the road in Europe, hopefully, with Louis. If for all our fans in Bucharest and Kiev and Portugal and Tel Aviv,
I bet Tel Aviv. I bet we have some Israeli fans.
We do. I looked at the charts the other day. We got a couple people in Israel. It's mostly my family, but
the Patreon. Join the Patreon. We got a great Patreon.
Amazing Patreon. It's better than this. I don't have COVID on the Patreon. It's really
a little
good.
cheaper than it should be too. So it's $3 a month. It's like 60 cents a fucking week.
Yeah, it's nothing. Well, all right. This is a great episode.
75 cents a week. Sorry.
Oh, and watch my special, by the way. Downhill Ever Since. I'm at 60,000.
That's pretty good.
What's good? What's like great? Like what you have like 1 million? I'm not gonna get 1 million.
You keep saying 1 million. I have 6 million.
Well, I'm just saying you hit the 1 million mark. Yeah.
Oh, you'll hit the 1 million mark in a couple decades.
If only I was in the movie Old, I'd hit it already. But thank you all for watching, and talk soon.
All right, kick ass. Tits, farts, bye.